On a stormy night, as the rain hammered down relentlessly, Daniel glanced at the old yellowed map in his hands. The map led to a place long feared and mostly forgotten in the village, the infamous Black Lake Manor. For years, the villagers had spoken of this cursed mansion. It was said that no one who entered ever came back. Some claimed that a wealthy family once lived there, only to vanish mysteriously after a series of terrible tragedies. But no matter how chilling the stories were, they never seemed real to Daniel. He wasn't one to believe in village legends. What intrigued him more was the mysterious appearance of this map, seemingly calling him to the manor. When Daniel finally reached the mansion, the grand, ancient door creaked open by itself. It was as if the house was welcoming him in. A cold gust of wind brushed against his face as he stepped inside. The massive hall was eerily silent, draped in dust and decay. The walls were damp and dark, the furniture rotted, but in the center of the hall stood an imposing wooden staircase, and at the top of it, a single door. This door stood out from everything else. Unlike the rest of the house, it was pristine, untouched by time, gleaming under the faint light filtering through the broken windows. Without hesitation, Daniel climbed the creaky stairs, his footsteps echoing in the stillness. At the top, he saw that something was carved into the door's surface. The words were old, worn, but still legible. "Whoever opens this door shall see the truth, and be bound by it." Daniel, ignoring the warning, turned the handle and pushed the door open. Inside was nothing but darkness. He stepped in cautiously, but the moment he did, the floor beneath him gave way. He fell hard, hitting the ground with a thud. Dazed, he opened his eyes and saw he was no longer in a room, but standing in front of a tall mirror. But the reflection wasn't right. His reflection wasn't moving. Daniel stared, paralyzed with confusion. And then, his reflection spoke. "You shouldn't have opened it. Now you're stuck here, just like me." Daniel's blood ran cold. He staggered backward as his reflection grinned. Slowly, the figure in the mirror began to change, twisting into something shadowy and unrecognizable. The mirror itself started to darken, as if it was absorbing the light from the room. Then, to his horror, the figure stepped out of the mirror, creeping toward him. Panicking, Daniel bolted for the door. But the door, which had so easily opened for him before, was now sealed shut. He pounded on it, screamed for help, but there was no one to hear him. The shadow was almost upon him, its presence suffocating and cold. Daniel's screams were swallowed by the darkness as the shadow engulfed him. The next morning, the villagers found Daniel's lifeless body lying just outside the mansion. His eyes were wide open, frozen in terror as they stared up at the sky. But something was off. His face, once familiar, had changed. It now bore a striking resemblance to the long-lost family members of Black Lake Manor. The truth of the final door is this: once opened, no one leaves unchanged.